At the end of a quiet lane stood a house that had been there longer than the road itself. Its walls were pale and smooth, catching the last light of evening in a muted glow. The roof sloped gently on all sides, its shingles layered like calm, overlapping waves. Windows reflected the dimming sky, each pane darkening at its own pace. A low fence bordered the yard, its paint softened by years of weather, its posts steady and evenly spaced. The house did not stand apart from the land, nor did it press into it. It rested there, balanced as the day thinned into dusk. The yard around the house settled early. Grass lay flattened in subtle paths where it had grown and bent, forming gentle curves rather than straight lines. A single tree stood near the fence, its branches wide and patient, leaves turning darker as light faded. Beneath the tree, the ground held a patchwork of shadow and remaining glow. A stone path led from the gate to the front steps, each stone fitted carefully beside the next, their edges smoothed. Nothing moved quickly. The yard accepted evening without hesitation, as though it had been waiting for it all day. Inside the house, light withdrew gradually. Some rooms dimmed sooner, their windows turning from reflective glass to dark squares. Other windows held a faint glow longer, soft and amber, before fading as well. Curtains hung still, their fabric heavy and untroubled by air. Window frames held small imperfections, tiny chips, uneven paint lines that became less visible as darkness deepened. Reflections of the yard and sky dissolved, replaced by calm opacity. The windows no longer mirrored the world outside. They became part of the house itself, quiet and contained. The front door rested at the center of the house, solid and unadorned. Its surface showed the grain of wood beneath old layers of paint. The handle was smooth and cool-looking, curved to fit the hand that had shaped it long ago. A narrow step led up to the door, its edge rounded by time. As night approached, the door's shadow lengthened across the porch floor, stretching and then settling into a stable shape. The door did not open. It did not need to. It remained closed, complete in its stillness. Within the house, hallways held their own quiet order. Floors lay level and uninterrupted, their surfaces reflecting just a trace of fading light. Walls formed straight, dependable lines, meeting at corners that softened in shadow. The hallway air felt settled, neither warm nor cool, as if it had found a comfortable middle and stayed there. Doors along the hall stood closed, their outlines faint but certain. No sound traveled quickly here. Everything seemed arranged to remain exactly as it was. The living room faced the yard, its windows now fully dark. Furniture rested in thoughtful arrangement, a sofa aligned with the wall, chairs angled slightly inward, a low table centered between them. The surfaces held no shine, only a gentle matte finish that absorbed what little light remained. Shelves along one wall supported rows of books, their spines forming a quiet pattern of heights and widths. Shadows settled between the objects, not hiding them, only softening their edges. The room did not expect activity. It held space calmly, as though content with its own arrangement. Above, the ceiling formed a broad, unbroken plane. It met the walls in steady lines, creating corners that deepened into shadow as night grew. The corners did not appear empty. They appeared full of stillness. A simple light fixture rested at the center of the ceiling. Inactive, its shape clear against the darker surface. The fixture cast no glow, yet it marked the room's balance point, anchoring the space without effort. The house carried its structure quietly, without strain. The kitchen lay beyond the hallway, orderly and calm. Counters were clear, their surfaces smooth and uninterrupted. Cabinets lined the walls in even rows, doors closed, handles aligned. The sink reflected a dim patch of window light, then darkened as the sky outside faded further. A table stood near the center, chairs tucked close beneath it. The floor tiles formed a regular grid, each square meeting the next with clean precision. The kitchen held no movement now. It rested in a state of completion. A staircase rose from the hallway, its steps broad and shallow. The banister followed the incline in a gentle curve, smooth to the eye. Each step cast a soft shadow beneath its edge, creating a repeating pattern that faded as it climbed upward. The staircase did not draw attention to itself. It simply existed as a passage, a steady connection between levels. At the top, the upper floor waited in deeper quiet, already dim and settled. The upper floor rooms held the calmest air of all. Doors stood closed, their outlines barely visible against the walls. Carpets absorbed sound completely, leaving no echo, no sharpness. Windows on this level reflected only darkness now, the sky having lost its remaining light. The rooms felt contained, wrapped in their own boundaries, as though each had drawn inward slightly. The house above seemed to exhale into stillness. One small room held a faint glow longer than the others. The bathroom window, high and narrow, allowed a trace of outdoor light to linger. Tiles along the wall reflected it softly, turning pale shapes into muted forms. The mirror darkened gradually, losing its reflections until it became simply another surface. The light faded fully, leaving the room indistinguishable from the rest. The house allowed that last brightness to disappear without resistance. Above the upper floor, the attic rested beneath the roof. It was not filled with movement or sound, only beams crossing overhead and stored objects resting in patient stillness. Boxes lined the floor in neat stacks, their edges squared. Dust lay undisturbed on surfaces, forming a soft, even layer. The attic did not seek attention. It held memory in shape rather than action, and night settled there deeply, undisturbed. Outside again, the house's walls cooled as night deepened. Their pale surfaces darkened slightly, absorbing the surrounding shade. The fence cast longer shadows across the grass, which blended into a single dark field. The tree near the fence stood unmoving, its leaves now indistinguishable from one another. The house did not stand out. It blended into the quiet landscape as one complete shape. The roofline cut a simple silhouette against the sky. Chimneys and vents rose in small, measured forms, their outlines clean and still. No smoke drifted upward. The roof carried the night evenly, its surfaces dark and matte. As clouds passed overhead, the roof's shade deepened, then lightened slightly, then deepened again, following the sky's slow movement. Beyond the yard, the surrounding neighborhood settled as well. Other houses became shapes rather than details, their windows dark, their forms steady. The road lay empty, its surface smooth and uninterrupted. No sounds traveled from far away. The entire area seemed to share a common rhythm of slowing, of easing into rest. The house stood among others, not separate, but aligned with the same quiet pattern. Air moved gently around the house, passing along walls, over the roof, through small gaps beneath doors and eaves. The movement was too subtle to see, only implied by the way shadows softened and steadied. Inside, the air felt evenly distributed, resting in corners and along ceilings without disturbance. The structure of the house held everything in balance, distributing weight, space, and stillness with equal care. Night settled fully now, no longer arriving, simply present. The house no longer changed in visible ways. Light did not shift. Shadows did not lengthen. Everything reached a stable arrangement. Walls, floors, ceilings, and rooms aligned into a single cohesive form. The house seemed to recognize this moment as complete, allowing all motion to become minimal, nearly imperceptible. Time passed without markers. The house remained unchanged through this passage, holding its shape in silence. The yard stayed dark, the fence steady, the tree unmoving. Inside, rooms retained their positions. Furniture held its angles, and hallways maintained their lines. The house did not anticipate anything. It existed entirely within the present arrangement of night. Every surface within the house appeared settled. Floors bore no shifting shadows. Walls carried no reflected light. Windows remained opaque and dark. The structure held firm, as if each beam and joint had found the exact alignment it preferred. The house did not respond to the passing of time. It remained calmly unchanged. The house stood complete in its quiet state. Yard, walls, rooms, and roof formed a single, steady presence within the night. Nothing called attention, nothing moved quickly, nothing broke the balance. The house remained as it was, resting fully within the darkness, holding its shape without effort as night continued, smooth and uninterrupted.